Now Kathy Dawes will ask a second question, and we will start with Stan Herman.
Do you feel you can stand by your personal beliefs strongly enough to do the job that needs to be done without being pressured by outside groups?
Well, that's probably an easy one. Because I've got 6 sisters and 1 wife, so I've got a built-in women's advisory board. So half my sisters are liberals, half of them are conservatives. So I get advice from all over. And so I've had to make my decision myself. My mother was a Republican, my father was a Democrat, so I heard about both sides of every issue. So I got to choose, even when I was in grade school, junior high, high school. So I had to learn how to think for myself and make the right decision with all the input that was coming in. So I believe that I can stand on my own beliefs, you know, my core values, and not be swayed by pressure groups from either side. And I just bank on my experience growing up in Manhattan, being born in Manhattan here. Lived here all my life, and so I got to see many issues, many sides of many issues. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Rich Jankovich.
Okay, on Friday we had another forum and we had a question that was not quite as easily short to answer, but in this case, yes, I believe I could. And basically, I have to make decisions like that every day, and it's part of my job with what I do at Commerce Bank and as a commercial lender. I have to look at every loan that I make to every company, to every individual, and determine whether or not how that fits within the parameters that I'm able to make those decisions in. And I think that's the critical element as we look at how we are as a city commission. We all have to represent each citizen of the community, not just ourselves and not just a specific special interest group. We have to listen to all sides, but at the end of the day, you're electing us to make those decisions for you. And so we have to listen to what those beliefs are from everyone and put that together into a solid decision as a consensus. And yet, I still believe I would make decisions based on all input, but what I believe is absolutely right for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Jankovich. Wynn Butler.
Edmund Burke once said, he was a member of British Parliament, that when you elect a representative, you're electing them not to be at the mercy of your opinion, but you're electing them to make good judgments. And that's the way I see the core values. Those, what I believe in, will never be compromised. If elected, you're electing any commissioner based on his ability to make good judgments. Now, to me, that means rational problem solving. And rational problem solving is very simple. First, you gather all the facts, as many facts as you possibly can from everyone involved in it. Then you weigh courses of action, and there's always going to be several courses of action. Sometimes the choices will be between 3 not so positive courses of action. Then what has to take place is you select one, and then the commission has to follow through and implement. And that many times involves some tough choices, and the commission in the past has made those. It's all about judgment. Voters will decide, you know, which 5 folks standing up here today or sitting up here today will end up occupying the 3 vacant seats. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. John Mata, same question, please.
Yes, I believe I can. I'm someone who has pretty strong convictions, and I do stick by them. Also, I'm someone who's had to manage organizations of over 1,000 people. I make decisions every day that affect hundreds of employees and their families. I have a staff of professionals, CPAs, engineers, information technology professionals, people from the trades, facilities, and they all have, you know, different department heads, and they all are very opinionated on which is the right course of action that we have to do at any time. So I have to weigh all those expert opinions, and then I'm the one who has to make the judgment. The other thing is, when you take care of a large group of people, sometimes there's issues that pop up because people can't get along, and as being the final arbiter, they end up coming to you to figure things out. Also, you have to lead them when times aren't too good, when you have to make decisions that aren't popular. And you have to stand in front of them and explain why we have to do certain things. Sometimes those are things that affect them and their family that they don't like, or can affect their co-employees. But you have to do what's best, and you have to make those judgments. And then in the organizations I've been with, then I've had to live with them afterwards. and still lead them forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mata. Phil Anderson.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think one of the things, the most solemn thing that a commissioner can do is to make decisions that are good for all of us. I had a long talk with a friend of mine who happens to be on the planning board. It's a person that I admire and I respect. And one of the things we ended up talking about was this very issue. How important it is when you make decisions as a public official that it's good for all of us and not just a particular group. And as we were talking, I realized that this individual on a number of occasions had made decisions that were not in his own best interest. And the same thing happened to me once some years ago when I was on the University Parking Council with Darrell. And it became clear to me at times that some of the members of that board were making decisions about parking that clearly benefited them, instead of benefiting the whole faculty and the staff of the university. So I think it's essentially important that we look at the big picture, and the decisions are for all of us. And because after I make my decision, I want to be able to go home at night and sleep with myself.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson.